Now back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Gaston's White River Resort, and Barton Power Sports.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on this January the 16th. Wow. We're moving on along. We're getting some cold weather. Maybe some ducks will come in. If not, they're all probably down at Cancun by now. I don't know. Louisiana, they always say, well, they went on to Louisiana. You know, so I know we got some geese out there. I'm hearing unbelievable reports on geese, and, of course, we run that Avery report every week and the DU report on lroutdoors.com. Go to it. You got some pictures that you would like for us to post on the website, we would be glad to do that. And I think that everybody has picked up their prizes, so we're doing real good on our prizes. So Rocky,
prizes?
Right? Oh yeah.
Is this? Wait a minute.
No, you're out.
Frank and I.
Yeah, you didn't. You were in on the contest. You didn't win. So no, but Frank, has that young man come over with his $50 gift certificate yet, Frank?
It hadn't come to my attention, and he has, but it wouldn't necessarily do that. I got folks that can handle that stuff pretty well.
So, but anyway, we appreciate it, and talking a lot of stuff going on right now. You know, the youth hunt was last weekend. The deer season is closed in Tennessee. It goes forever in Mississippi, it seems like, and then it seems like it starts and ends in Arkansas in a blink. So my two deer are up at Stingle Brothers Deer Processing. That is one of where I take my deer up near Laconia, right there out of Somerville. Scott Stingle and all of his brothers, and Nathan called me the other night and said my next deer is ready. So I'm gonna go up there and sneak up there and get that. But I know that we had some good numbers of deer last week, and 162,000 last time I heard for Tennessee. But I think they did the right thing closing that season during the flooded areas. And I know that Dave Gabbert spoke a lot about that last weekend. We're trying to hook up right now with our buddies at Mossy Oak, you know, Bill Sugg, and, of course, Cuz Strickland, and maybe might even get Toxie Hayes on there with us also. This is their 30th anniversary. Golly, that just doesn't seem possible. Mossy Oak, 30 years. You know, I can remember back camo patterns, and, of course, Toxie with his dad, Fox, and he went to the mill where the fabrics were, and he just had a handful of dirt. He said he wanted a fabric like that. So he took the dirt, made the pattern out of it, and now Mossy Oak is it's everywhere. You know, it's
Larry? What is your earliest Mossy Oak piece that you own today in your
that
camouflage collection?
That
what
was
is the earliest?
That was the
piece
1990.
Yeah,
that was the when I
Do
went
you still
down.
Own it?
Oh yeah. And I went to West Point, and I did a story about the big three in West Point. That was B&M Pole, which is still down there. Those guys are still doing a great job. And there was the boat dealer that's not down there, I don't think, anymore. But I spent time with Toxie and Bill. And Bill's a former real estate guy. It worked for Bryan Foods. Of course, as we were talking off the air about George Bryan, what a great person he is. And now they've hooked up to make this golf course down at right across from Old Waverly. And I can't wait to play it. But 30 years, 2016 is their 30 year. I have got so many camo patterns. I went back and looked up in my closet. You know, I've got some of those that Jim, the guy that started it, I can't even remember his name right now, but he was the camo guy. Of course, Bill Jordan came in with Realtree and all these different people, and they're all one big happy family, you know. And the camo pattern, and of course, we all started with your first camo pattern
was the standard military
That's
camo pattern.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it wasn't Bottomland, which was Mossy Oak's first camo pattern. Was Bottomland, and now your shirts are out there, and of course Drake's got their deal. Avery's got theirs, and so all these different people have so many camo. Now women are nothing against that, but now it's branched out. Even if you don't hunt, you're wearing camo. You know that? I mean, the pattern that you have on your cap.
Buckbrush.
That's buckbrush from Avery.
That's correct.
Yes, and it's a good-looking cap. So that Avery has done that. And
do you have any more of those caps, Frank?
I might have another cap like this.
Yeah, they're over there. You probably got some over there at.
These were Master National hats. These were.
No, you don't have another hat like that.
I may have another one.
Yeah, that's a cool cap. And of course, it's not like the one you wore we duck hunted. I thought that was pretty cool. That
I needed something for rain that day.
You did. It was dripping a little bit, wasn't it? Yeah. And everything. But
now it's the throwback patterns. There is an attention towards people who are wanting those old throwback camouflage
throwback patterns. Just that's crazy. Now I know it's Throwback Thursday. Maybe I ought to go up my attic and pull out some of those old patterns that I've refused to throw away. My wife says, "Why'd you throw those away?" But I've got some that just they're I don't want to throw them away. I want to keep them and do all those things. But I do need to clean out some stuff. I've got so many things that nobody will understand. But next year will be 50 years of journalism in Memphis for me. 2017 will be my 50th year of writing and talking in Memphis, and I'm still planning to do a book. But I need someone that will
and preaching also now.
Well, I do that. I do that as much. If you need a wild game speaker, I've already got 2 set up. I'm ready to do those. I love wild game dinners. I think that's a great thing. But I'm going to do a book next year and pick out a lot of my stories over the 50 years and go with them, whether it was high school or whether it was riding on the garbage truck with Shifty Logan. That was one of my big assignments back in the heyday. Shifty Logan fought Joe Louis, and he ended up the city signed him. Anybody remember Shifty Logan? That's before you, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Okay, he was a great boxer, but he didn't exactly remember what day it was. But he just rode in the garbage truck. He didn't do anything. He just rode in it, and I rode with him one day. Shifty Logan, Monk Casello. Now we're getting into really old time stuff like that. All right, you got 1 week left. Let's see, we got today is the 16th, so you're looking at about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks. So the hope is on. Now, I know I asked the guys with you.
Hope is not. Have you ever found anybody more optimistic
than a duck hunter? No.
And we were talking about it. That's you have otherwise you wouldn't have any old duck hunters.
It's exactly
There's nobody
right.
that is more optimistic than a duck hunter.
Yeah, yeah, and particularly during the season because we do get a lot of numbers thrown at us. Big numbers.
Oh yeah.
Back in the
the migration.
Yeah, the migration number.
Alerts.
Yeah, those alerts, and somebody's flying that plane over and counting them. Either hanging out the plane and counting. There's 2, 3, 4. There's a gadwall going by there. I've always wanted to be one of those official counters. You have a little clicker.
Is that how they do that?
Well, Ames Plantation used to count. I'd go out there and cover the national championship, which is coming up next month, and they would have a gentleman. I can't remember his name, but he was the official counter.
Of quail?
No, of people.
Of people.
How many people? Well, he said, well, how do you do that? And he said, well, I've got a clicker here, and I count each horse by 4, their legs, and then I divide them by how many number the riders are, and that's the way I do it. That's true.
Kerry, you had to ask.
I know. I thought you were going to say you got an official quail counter.
No, they'd have 2,000 people out there at one time, but you count them by the legs, he said. And if someone knows who that gentleman was, he was quite a character. But that's
I had to ask. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you had to ask. That's what you said. But last 2 weeks, so.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we hopefully the weather-wise looks like we're going to finish it off pretty good. We're not going to have the big cold snaps that everything freezes up, and then that'll come in February. That kind of stifles us quite a bit if everything's freezing up and. But I do want to. Let me go ahead and put this one little plug for those. I've seen an awful lot of boats being pulled early in the morning now, and please, please, please be careful, everybody out there that's hunting the rivers.
Oh yeah.
With this high water that we've got, things are not like it used to be.
Well, Gary, you mentioned that.
I just mentioned that the other day.
That guy in that little small boat with his dog. We never found the dog, did we?
Never found the dog.
Did you not know that name?
No, I did not know the gentleman. Was sorry to hear about it, but that's a good example.
That's a great. Kerry said that because he didn't know those wires were under the water because you can't see. The water is so murky, that you can't.
It's dark and the water's higher and things and especially right now, there's a lot of chunks out there in the river. There's a lot of debris that's floating. In the river.
As it goes down, it's bringing these things with it.
Well, it comes up, and then it brings them all down as it comes up, and then these things are floating out there in the river, and you're running your boat, going to where your duck spot. It's one thing if I hit something like that when I'm driving the Tunica Queen.
No.
It's a 78 ton vessel, and I can
But
hear
to hit it,
I feel a little bump, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But you hit that same thing when you're in your 18 or 20 foot, boat. If you're lucky, it'll just break
Shear
the
your
lower
pin.
end of your motor off, as opposed to flipping you over.
Or it might be like the country singer Greg Strickland out in Oklahoma.
Oh, bless
He and
his
his
heart.
his buddy were out there, and if you've ever been to Oklahoma, they have wind all the time. I don't, I'm not counting tornadoes. I'm just talking about wind, the conditions, and we were talking about hunting out of the south wind. You duck hunters, I know, really check that wind, don't you?
We pay a lot of attention to it, and it's been a while since I've hunted the river, but I've got a great deal of respect for it. I always wear a PFD.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think this gentleman had his on when the boat flipped.
I didn't see it, but he went under it with his waders.
He had his waders on as well.
And the dog, of course, they never found the dog.
Yep.
And he's very fortunate.
He's extremely fortunate.
They got on that, but how much manpower he had, just out there trying to help find this guy.
Yeah, I went out there.
You were out there.
I was out there the next day looking, and
because you want to find the dog.
Oh man,
the dog is, we don't take him to.
It was a curly coated retriever. It's super nice dog, and
you were spending a lot of time looking for one of your dogs, right, Frank?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. It becomes part.
Well, speaking of the safety on the river, I've got a friend that is that has hunted he's an older duck hunter. He's hunted the river for years, and he told me yesterday that he will not get on the river right now because of the height, and he said you just do not know what is in the river.
No.
Have no idea.
No. All right, let's take a break. We couldn't hook up with the Mossy Oak guys. We'll continue to do that on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Be right back on ESPN 790.
Find out all about it on Outdoors with Larry.